Okay, so today I'm going to be talking a little bit about my custom G29 that I modded with a handbrake. I got this whole custom wheel on here, which I kind of hacked up. I don't really recommend doing this. If you want to have a handbrake, go the easy way, and I'm gonna explain to you guys how to get a handbrake working on this thing right now. I'm gonna put a link in the description for the USB encoder that I use for this. Basically, you just need a USB encoder. You can see it sitting right there. I built it in there so I don't have the thing like sticking out and having to deal with all these wires. So this one wire goes into the handbrake to the USB encoder. From the USB encoder, there's two wires coming off. You can basically connect. There's basically these plugs that they give you with it. I'm gonna show you guys those plugs real quick. So basically, these cables come with it, and I don't know if you guys can. Let's get a focus on here. So basically, you just take one of these plugs, and you can see two wires are on there, and the end like that. Basically, you just gotta like plug one of those things in, and then god damn it. And then whenever you plug that thing in, you can run it to a switch. This is basically just a switch. If you have like one of those hydro e-brakes and you have like a pressure sensitive switch that you just bolt on to the hydro line, that's also an option. That's like way more realistic. It's gonna like actually initiate like the way it's gonna like do it with real on the hydraulic brake system. It's kind of weird to explain, but anyway. So basically, I unbolted this whole module thing until I had this bare hub, and I'm only explaining this to you guys if you really want to have a custom steering wheel on it the cheap way. I don't know if they sell like these hubs. I've seen people fit these G29 conversion hubs on the G920 or something. It's the Xbox version. They don't have this wheel, but it basically doesn't fit on the PlayStation version because of this wheel is in the way. So what I did is I grabbed a round plate and I bolted that straight up with these 3 bolts. These are factory bolts. They go into the plastic. I drilled those out of the steel hub. Drilled all of these holes for the steering wheel. So basically that whole thing bolts up. But if you unbolt this whole thing, you will notice there's a plug that's this wire, and it goes through the whole, through the whole hub, in a little channel thing through the shaft, and that sits like right there. It comes out. The shaft is so thin where this cable runs through with, and basically you either have to cut it and like re-solder all the things because the plug doesn't fit through. What I did at the plug itself, I pulled all the wires out with a little knife. It's kind of hard to explain, but once you start doing it, you will see how it works. And then I basically drilled a hole into the back of this thing right here. You can see the cable coming out, so I plugged this thing in and glued it on here, because if you do not plug it in and just leave it for what it is, even if you go into the Logitech gaming software and you go unassign all of these buttons, none of them still work. If you unplug this thing and you were to go into a game, and let's say you want to like do something like, oh, I'm gonna like set my handbrake up for whatever reason, I want to pull the switch. No, before you can even pull the switch, it's gonna like assign it to some weirdest button that's not even on here. That button is not even on here, remember. So if you do not have this connected, it's gonna assign to like a really random button that's not on here, and then you cannot like configure your whole G29 setup with the game that you want to play, which is a huge pain in the ass. Of course, you can take all of these presets. Let's say I will just like select my preset from right here, G29 custom. I press load, and it's not gonna recognize it without this thing on it. So basically, every single time you have to start up a game, you're gonna have to take the wire, plug it in, and then like throw this back in your drawer somewhere. So that's why I just glued it on here, so it's not really in the way. I don't really care having it on top of it, sitting like that. If I want to, I can reassign all these buttons back in the G29 program and like actually use all of these, but I really don't see the need to. The only thing I'm needing is the wheel itself and my shifter. That's it. I use the handbrake for small corrections when I'm driving around drifting. And the pedals, they're just kind of naked. I took off the plastic so I can bolt it down to this big thing, and it was a little bit nicer. So I did mod the springs and whatever is in there. This is like really flimsy. It goes in really easily. There was something going on when it's stock, which I didn't like, so I can't remember how it was when it was stock because I have this set up for a really long while now. Basically, the brake pedal, I put a piece of rubber in there, so when you just press it like this, it stops, and then all the rest is just on force, so it feels like an actual brake pedal. The clutch, I just put a really heavy spring in there, so I think I took the spring from the brake pedal and put that in, so the clutch was a little bit heavier, because I found the clutch to be like way too soft on you. So I did switch a bunch of springs. I put like a piece of rubber in some of them. It's just it's whatever now. So that's basically the whole sim racing setup, and I still want to get something like a play seat. I'm not gonna buy an actual play seat, so well, me and my buddy were talking about building a play seat sooner or later when I have money for all the steel. I don't even have the money to go buy steel just to weld something up myself. So get this whole, oh, okay, that's nice. So this thing just broke, kind of. So this is basically what I'm using. This whole thing. Oh my god. So yeah, it's looking like super shitty and whatnot, but trust me, it works. It works just fine. No problems with this thing whatsoever. So I kind of want to like weld something up, make it super nice, paint it up really good, and have it looking like fire, like straight up fire. I'm gonna make a detailed video on that sooner or later, where we will be welding a Hot Boy play seat or something. I don't know. We're definitely gonna be reusing this bucket seat, which is a little bit less Hot Boy. It's not the greatest bucket seat in the world, but it's gonna do. Like all the rest of the components, it's gonna be like, it's gonna be mint. Trust me, it's gonna be straight up Hot Boy as fuck. People will be looking at my setup like, wow, who's this Hot Boy? And that's basically. I just wanted to kind of show you guys how you can actually achieve a handbrake and achieve this the best way. And don't be stupid like me and, you know, plug a wire into this thing and just solder it onto one of these buttons. Don't do that. Don't, just trust me. Spend $5 on a USB encoder, and then you can build your own. With USB, it's a lot safer. You don't risk fucking up, you know, a $400 steering wheel. So that's kind of it.